Alright, it's Friday night segment down. What's that? You're expecting a full wrestling card for a wrestling show? Well, you'll get 3 matches tops. And you like it, Mark?
What a story, Mark.
As always, these lame duck shows open with utterly pointless city shots followed by utterly pointless arrival shots. Damian Priest is here. Oh my goodness! No one cares. Same goes for Aleister Black, Michin, Giulia. I'm not saying these people are bad, to be clear, but they're not exactly megastars. Let's just get them wrestling that much quicker by skipping this BS. How does that sound? There was also a Punk arrival shot. Given this is Chicago, though, he does get to pretend he's a megastar for the night, so that's a bit more forgivable. Unfortunately, Joe Tessabore, a dull but cringe-free commentator, is gone for 2 months, apparently. So we're getting the worst, most overrated, most inexplicably successful commentator of all time, Michael Cole, instead. John Cena out first for another apology promo for his botched farewell tour and disastrous heel champion run. He mentioned getting his mojo back, to which one has to point out his career is a few months from being toast. Might be a bit too late. Instead, this horribly mismanaged, poorly booked disaster zone of a final run will be a stain on the legacy of a man who fronted sports entertainment for a decade before slowly transitioning into the part-timer status he once trashed Dwayne Roxon for. Cena sucked up to the Chicago crowd, as he does to every live crowd now, before revealing this will be the final time he makes a wrestling appearance in Chicago. If he wrestles, I wonder who will get the honors. Maybe some up-and-coming star who could do with the rub, or maybe just a top worker Cena hasn't wrestled much, like maybe, say, Drew McIntyre. That would be a fun promo and match. Maybe a Solo Sikoa rematch so Cena can get his win back. Jacob Fatu, that could be interesting, who knows? Well, once Cena was done riding Chicago's erect dung into next week, he appeared to be leaving. No match then, fair enough. And then it happened. Sami Lame's music hit. The Chicago crowd booed hard, rightfully so, as this master of soy boy beta male propaganda, Captain Feelings, Mr. No Jim, the underdog who always wins, and is always in his feelings, every damn week the same allegedly babyface promo, is here, he's here. He mentioned his US Open Challenge match with John Cena a whole decade ago, where he injured his shoulder, dancing like a spastic on the ramp, and was then gone for several months. To be fair, that match was very good at the time, but that was then, when Zayn was an effective underdog from NXT, with an exciting dynamic wrestling style and a barbershop he would actually go to on the regular. This is now, with a more broken down, doughy Zayn, who never goes to the barbers and has become stale. And formulaic under Triple Nose's watch. Zayn, ever the soft serve, asks for Daddy Cena's permission to run his own US Open Challenge. Poor Cena is clearly desperate to get out of there and go and sleep with James Gunn's wife, which, based on Peacemaker Season 2 thus far, may well just be a general something going on among 40-plus muscle-bound action actors. But Zayn gets in his way again. What is this guy's deal? And challenges John Cena to a match right now. So Zayn just pressured an unprepared Cena into a match immediately. But hey, at least we're getting John Cena wrestling. That's something now that he's actually trying hard in the ring again. A commercial break ensured we missed the opening exchanges between one of the last superstars and a man who personifies why there aren't superstars anymore. Opening exchanges saw Zayn target Cena's arm before landing an incredibly awkward springboard leapfrog. This was very back and forth, with Cena answering Zayn's suplex quickly with one of his own. The crowd was all Cena, which was hilarious given how Chicago have treated him over the years, especially during any of his many angles. With CM Punk, the pace picked up considerably as Cena went for the AA after another commercial break further hampered the immersion factor of this bout for us viewers at home. Zayn fought hard to escape it, only to dive right into it with another cumbersome springboard attempt. Despite being planted with the AA, it did not take long for Zayn, the supposed underdog from the underground, or whatever the hell his old nickname was, to fire back, homaging Kevin Owens. The man who in kayfabe tried to end his career and cost him a spot at WrestleMania this year with a pop-up powerbomb. Cena randomly landed an angle slam at one point. Randy Orton used to occasionally hit this as well. No one gets the spin, or the force, or the angle of the move nailed down, no pun intended, the way Kurt Angle did. Truly in a league of his own was the Kurtmeister, one of the most gifted, all-round talented wrestlers ever in his prime. Yet another ad break, 3 ad breaks, for John Cena no less. This does not bode well for his NBC retirement show in December. And during the ad break, Cena apparently homaged Kurt Angle again with an ankle lock, and Zayn hit his own AA. We're missing all the good stuff, this is ridiculous. This match was heating up a lot, with Cena pulling out homages to other famed rivals of his, from a Punk GTS to an Edge spear, and boy, Edge must just be kicking himself he wasn't around for that terrible Cena heel run. You just know WWE would have loved to run heel Cena versus face Edge during that time. Cena decimated Zayn with an avalanche AA, but before we could all roll our eyes at Zayn, of all people, kicking out of it, the Beast remembered he's actually allowed on these shows again. Brock Lesnar is here, and he's collecting. He wants videos of both of these men taking a whiz. Try and avoid the restroom while Dirty Brock, Vince McMahon's alleged wingman in the total destruction of sad, lonely, middle-aged women, is in the house. Lesnar hit the F5 on Zayn, good riddance to bad rubbish, yeah, and then hit Cena with 2 of them to remind us of that Cena-Lesnar bout coming up at some point. The real question is, will Brock Lesnar actually explain why he hates John Cena at the moment? To this day, we still don't know why Lesnar hated Cody Rhodes so much during their 2023 feud. This match is all set for WrestlePalooza, an utterly terrible name for a card from the ECW days because Triple Nose cannot come up with anything new, even if his nose depended on it. Arrival shots are no longer limited to the start of these shows either. We got a just awful Becky cringe arrival bit. She's wearing an orange version of that terrible pink jacket Darby Allin often wears. Damian Priest, the Triple Nose pet project who will never, ever come close to a world title again, out next. He's a big man who throws stiff strikes and dresses like a male dominatrix. He should be some kind of creepy, dangerous heel, like he was in the Fudge Pack day, but now he's just nice guy man. Reasonable chap, that's Damian Priest's new gimmick, because heaven forbid anyone be a little larger than life under Triple Nose's watch. Anyways, Priest got jumped by Aleister Black during his entrance. It took an entire ad break for Priest to recover and make it into the ring, where he immediately got kicked in the head. Apparently that's just fine though, the ref started the match regardless, so I suppose maybe this referee is a fake, Satan-worshipping poser like Black, and they're in league with each other or something. They can get matching gay edgelord tattoos later and talk about Anton LaVey like he wasn't just a Hollywood creep using clout to get laid by people he was otherwise way too ugly to associate with. Now, despite taking multiple kicks to the head, Priest's comeback here involved a headbutt, adding some injury to his own injury. The comeback didn't last very long though, as Black flattened him with a meteora before yet another ad break. This is just getting ridiculous. So the story of this match was very simple. Aggressive heel Black took advantage of his pre-match shenanigans to sadistically punish and break down Priest, who fought hard to try and get back in the game, using his superior strength and tenacity to weather Black's kickboxing storm. Priest fought back from a running knee with some big strikes before setting up his old-school crossbody. Old school, whether it's him or The Undertaker or anyone else, has to be one of the dumbest moves in wrestling history, as the opponent not only waits around for the wrestler to walk the ropes, but actively helps his balance while he's at it. The whole thing just looks fake and hokey. Regardless, the action hit a high note when an incensed Priest planted Black with a flatliner, before sending him crashing through the announcer's table with a razor's edge. Just when Priest was closing in on the win back in the ring, Black cheekily used the referee to throw Priest off, planting him with the dreaded Black Mass kick for the win. Shocking stuff. Decent match here. Both guys have solid work rate and their wrestling styles complement each other. Black looked dangerous and dishonorable, and in general is a much better fit as a mean-spirited heel than the cool guy tweener act they've tried with him in the past. Considering the tainted nature of his win, Black's angle with Priest is likely not over, and as weak as the storytelling has been, the action between the ropes was solid here, and these two displayed good chemistry. A grudge match in the near future with a darker, angrier Priest looking for revenge could be very entertaining, we'll see. And so the endless segmenting begins. Something called Twisted Tea, I think, gave us a recap of the Randy Orton-Drew McIntyre feud. An awesome pairing on paper, but one that has been hampered by the most basic one-dimensional booking plus jelly roll and scripting thus far, rather than the mean-spirited grudge feud between two nasty heavy hitters that it should be. Brock Lesnar will be on next week to discuss how many women Vince McMahon might have tried to sell him, we don't know. And Tiffy Time will be back to shred our ears and show off her latest cosmetic procedure. Opposite Jade No Skill in a title bout next week. Next segment, Jade No Skill and Nepo Snacks have a brief, quite rude actually, interaction. Wow, these two can't act to save their lives. Will Snacks ever sound like anything more than a bored soccer mum who wants to see the manager? Probably not, at this rate. And then, Queen Deman, Becky Cringe, and Nick Aldis had a brief segment where Aldis displayed incredible restraint by not being in a nerve-pinched shrug position the entire time. Lynch hit him with her insipid cracks at overacting and scenery chewing. We're at the point now where it's gone from playing an arrogant, crazed heel to just playing a bumbling cartoon retard. The final match of the night next, that's right, a mere 3 matches on this whole card, one of which wasn't even announced ahead of time, so viewers came into this with just a 2-match card confirmed for the show. Giulia versus Mrs. Keith Lee for a nothing belt no one cares about that was only even close to being relevant when Chelsea Green was using it as a comedy prop. There was no faffing around here. These two got straight to business with some rapid-fire strike exchanges. A spirited Lee was quickly crushed by the aggressive champ with a neckbreaker on the outside. An ad break then gutted much of Giulia's subsequent control time. When we returned, she was using her own head, Benoit style, and look how that worked out for him, to keep Lee down. Lee conveniently saved making a comeback for the ad break ending, now rallying with some German suplexes, but couldn't land the eat defeat. This heated up a little bit with a sit-out driver from Giulia, leading to a sudden Wolverine-like recovery and sit-down powerbomb courtesy of Lee. Giulia's lesbian lover/translator, lady whose name I've already forgotten, got on the apron to remind us all Giulia is a heel, and heels aren't allowed to win clean. Even against jobber-level mid-card talents, apparently. This distraction led to Giulia flattening Lee with an arrivederci knee for the win. These two worked hard for the time they had, but the match took a while cranking up the heat, and when it finally did, blink and you'll miss it, it's over. The alien, pretending to be Charlotte Flair, was complaining about her latest knee injury next. Alexa Bliss and a puppet were there to cheer her up. A lot of fans seemed to like this odd couple pairing, but this segment just made them both look silly, with Bliss now steadily moving from eccentric into just plain stupid with her 30-something little girl gimmick. Now, in 2019, the WWE moved ahead with having Seth Rollins and Becky Cringe front the product as a double act for a little while. And do you know what happened? Fans worldwide asked, "Hey, do you think that AEW thing will be any good?" These two did to ratings what Kane did to Abel, but because they're Triple Nose favourites, masters of giving Triple Nose's back passage a jolly good tasting, they're getting a renewed double-act push right now. Ratings be damned! Those very raw ratings that noticeably drop the more and more Zest Rinnings becomes a focal point of the show. Rollins hyped up his trusty closet cover from the crowd as she made her way to the ring. Lynch continued her just insipid, handball, panto-style acting as the Chicago crowd loudly chanted for AJ Lee. Cringe went for some low-hanging fruit, as Lockport Phil would say, when she roasted Chicago's sports teams, leading to the Punk Man himself putting this dead-on-arrival promo out of its misery by making his entrance. Let's just be real here. Everyone is watching this show for one thing right now, and that is AJ Lee's return, the worst-kept secret of the year thus far in the WWE. Punk again showed remarkable restraint and commitment to character by keeping a straight face opposite Cringe's appallingly over-the-top forced output. Cringe is one of those people where you can really see them trying to perform. The wheels in their head turning as they're too busy thinking they're just so damn great to actually commit to character fully. Probably why those Hollywood calls she's so desperate for just aren't coming into view, and we just keep seeing her come back instead. Cringe started slapping Punk around again, who again just stood there and took it like a Punk, actually. Punk revealed that he's no Steve Austin when he confirmed he would not put his hands on a lady, leading to AJ Lee's music hitting as a near middle-aged woman skipped out in Chuck Taylors like an airhead teen. Lee put a quick, disjointed beating on Cringe, who fell out of the ring, but then remembered there was meant to be a shot of her on the floor in front of CM Punk on another side of the ring, so she just awkwardly crawled over to him for no reason, before posing unnaturally to ensure the cameraman got that shot in. Seth Rollins then just about fell over the barricade for some reason, getting to his wife. Now, the main thing that got Lee over back in the day was her promo ability, so of course she was a mute for her first WWE appearance in over a decade. Punk and Lee stood victorious to end a show that started off okay and became more and more mid as it wore on. The good news for these two is that Rimmings and Cringe are so offensively unwatchable at this point that Punk and Lee seem like super babyfaces in comparison, even for viewers like myself who typically don't enjoy their work all that much. This is still, of course, very bad news for CM Punk, as now, perving on women half his age in NXT will become a little more difficult with the old ball and chain watching him up close. I don't know what to say. Maybe don't take a selfie with every female performer young enough to be your daughter for a little while. Just a thought. This show was not offensively awful by SmackDown's comically low standards of late, but not great either, and sporting a completely absent world champion, which is just a recurring theme in WWE at this point.